How's it going, you guys? So this tutorial is going to cover making destructible objects for Heartbreak. This is actually fairly simple. My workflow is the exact same as it's always been. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As always, I paint the background green, a bright green, because I know that's not going to be a color I'm going to end up using. I want to set my brush size. Let's see what 10 looks like. Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, maybe 5. 3. We'll do 3. So the first thing we want is we're going to want a wall, something like that. And I'm thinking we're probably also going to want, let's see, this is going to be wall outline, and this will be called board outline. So I also want a board right here that just, I'm trying to think how to explain this. Something simple like this. And all I'm going to do is just rotate it and put it right here. Probably go ahead and stretch it out some. So you might be wondering, well, why are you doing it like that? The reason why, because we have wall outline, but then we'll also have wall color. And all I have to do is just come in here, look for a turd brown. Find my turd brown. There's our turd brown. Okay. And I can actually go ahead and disable this. I'm going to click on my wand, click in here, go to select. I'm going to grow my selection. I'm going to grow it by 2 because we set our size to 3. I'm going to just increase the crap out of this, and we're going to just paint this turd brown. So we have that color. I'm actually going to, I don't really like that color too much as a primary color, but we will still use turd brown. So we have this light color right here. I'm actually going to scroll down, and right here, this little stamp tool, this is actually hair. We also have one for wood grains, and actually I think wood grains is going to be the one I'm going to use. So I'm just going to paint this in real quick, and let me go to a different color. Go to another color. Here we go. There we go. That looks pretty. And so now I can go ahead and turn this on, and I'm going to go ahead and create another layer. This will be called board color. Now, how do we indicate to the player that, hey, this thing is destructible? Well, quite easily. We just simply add some cracks in it. So let's go ahead and grow the selection of this one. We're going to go ahead and grow it by 2, just like we did last time. And we're going to click on this light brown color, and I'm not going to use this brush. I want to use this brush, paint that in real quick. And I'm going to go back to this. So I'll go back to my turd brown, paint that in real quick. Then I'm going to click on this one. All I'm doing is just clicking on the ones that are on the bottom and just kind of cycling through that way. There we go. So now let's go ahead and add some cracks. Well, down here they also have one. They also have brushes for cracks. As you can see right here, here's spines, crackles. We even have this really cool big texture right here that we can use. It really just depends on what you're trying to set up. For me, I'm actually going to use something like this, but right now my default size is set to 130. I actually just want to set that to 45. I'm going to go to black. And then I'm going to lower the opacity. I'm just going to drag it all the way across here. There we go. And then I'm going to bring this other board back up. I'm actually going to disable these along with the color. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to hit the plus button so I create another layer above wall color. Turn wall color back on. I don't know why background. Well, that's fine because I already know that we're good. So right here I actually want to, I'm going to keep this probably around 50. I'm going to go ahead and increase this to 90. And as what I want to do is I want to indicate to the player that it cannot be destroyed from this side. It has to be destroyed from that side. The way I do this is by doing some new shapes. And it would really help if I select the correct layer. So let me go to select, let me grow the selection. I will grow it by 2. And I also have something right here I need to delete because I didn't have the right layer selected. So there we go, it should be good. Let's go to select, grow selection, grow it by 2. And then I'll turn on the wall color. And so is what I'm doing is I'm actually starting right here in the middle, and I'm just bringing the brush up. So you can kind of see that right there. So this will indicate to the player that, hey, this is destructible. but you need to figure out how to destroy it. And because this side right here is badly damaged, that'll be enough of an indication to the player like, hey, you need to damage it from this other side. So whenever we bring both of these back up, this is what we get. Now this image size is kind of large, but for what I'm trying to show you guys, it'll be fine. So I'm actually going to save this, and we have sprites, and these will be called new folder. No, it's not going to be called new folder. I'm just creating a new folder. So I'm going to call this level sprites. And right here is what I'm going to, I actually want to save it as a created document, so this will be destructible. There we go. And I'm actually going to go ahead and save this as a PNG. So this will be called Destructible 234 wall main. And now that I have done that, I can go ahead and take these, go ahead and merge these. Do the same with this one. So here's where it gets interesting, because now I need to break these walls completely apart. Like they're just completely destroyed. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually going to, like this board color right here, I'm actually going to duplicate that. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to set this, well, first of all, I need to actually come up here and click on this brush size, but this one will be set to 3. And I'm just going to do that there. I'll click on this one. I'll do that right there. I know you can't see it, but if I turn it off, then you can actually see it. So for this one, this is going to be the bottom board. Or I'm sorry, this is going to be the bottom board. And the reason why, because that's where this mark is. So essentially I'm going to click on this tool, which just allows me to just click in these areas and do a selection that way. So I actually want to click right up here on the top of this. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to click here, here, and then I'll close this up. And then all I have to do from there is shift, or actually, I did that wrong. My bad, you guys. So let me do it this way, and I'll come up here. Oh, I don't know where it's at, so I'm just going to be erring on the side of caution. Okay, so for this one, we can go ahead and delete. And then we'll click on this bottom one. And this one will be up top. And then we will delete. And I got those backwards. No surprise. I can't all be winners, kid. So this one, I actually want to, I'm going to hold down Alt. I'm going to come across here because I actually needed the top of it, not the bottom. And now I can delete. And then I'll click on this one. And I'm going to do the exact opposite. So I'll go ahead and turn this one off because now I want the bottom piece, which means I need to grab the top of it here. No, that's wrong, Jimmy. You need to come down here and do it that way. Okay, there we go. That was a sneeze. Well, the second one wasn't, but that first one was. That was a hellacious sneeze. So now we got this. I know it doesn't quite line up just right, but it's fine. And the reason why it's fine is because of the fact that each one of these layers is going to be rendered separately, and that's why it's fine. So this is actually going to break into... You know, in fact, let me think about this for just a quick second, you guys. Thinking. Okay, thinking's done. So, is what I actually want to do instead of what I just did, I actually am going to turn this off. And let me continue undoing a lot of my... There we go. So, I actually want to take just this one board, and I actually want to duplicate it into several different sections. So, the way I do that is I want to take this, Control C, V, click back down here. I want to take this section, Control C, V, and then I'm actually going to come here, like so. So I can grab those, like that, come down here, Control C, V. I'm going to click down here. I'm going to do the same thing. All I'm doing is just copying and pasting. That is literally it. Control C, V. Oh, I'm 1 pixel off. And if you're wondering, yes, 1 pixel does make a difference. It actually makes a very big difference. Okay, so that's all that piece is, and then this piece is right there, so now I need to come down here. Let me just click on that, Control CV. So now we have all these pieces right here that can all be destructible, and they'll all just fly apart, and I think that'll look a lot better. Essentially, we're going to do the same thing with this wall. Now, there is another way you can do this. I'm going to show you the other method that you can do. So right here we have our wall color merged. I'm going to take this. I'm going to do Control CV. And so now I've done the corner. I'm going to click back here. I'm going to go to Select. And we're actually going to invert selection. So now I no longer have this upper corner part selected. The rest of it's selected, just not this upper corner part. What are you doing, dog? You're annoying. I love you, but you're annoying. Alright, so... Oh, well, that got a little loud. Let me do a quick mic check. Testing, testing, testing. There we go. That should be a little bit better in your guys' ears. Just now realizing how loud that's getting, and I apologize for that. Blasting your ears for the last 11 minutes. Okay, so... We've done that. We're actually going to zoom in, and I'm going to subtract the next part, and then, or actually, let me think about how I want to do this. Let me go to select. Let me go ahead and invert the selection back the way it was. I'm actually just going to delete that section of the wall, and the reason why, because we're not really going to need it, so for now we can go ahead and delete it. And this way, any other sections that I select, I don't have to worry about, yeah. So all I'm doing is just using my little tool right here, and I am just Control CV, and then I'll click back on the wall color merge, I'll hit delete, and that is literally all I am doing. And you can also come in here and add some really cool shapes. Come back down here, delete that, and then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to Control CV, then I will delete that. And this one little part right here I'm not worried about deleting, because once I'm done with the wall merged, I'm like, you could go ahead and come in here and just grab it real quick, Control CV. You could do that, or you could just leave it alone, because it's going to be whatever's left over, so completely optional, not a requirement. So one thing I do want to say is, normally if I was doing this, I would actually duplicate that wall first and then start doing all this. The only reason why I'm not, because I don't plan on reusing this wall. So that's why I'm not really too terribly worried about it. And then I'm actually going to break this section up right here. How do I want to break this up? Probably something like this, I think. So then Control CV and delete it from there. So now we have this wall that actually looks like it's all cracked. And you can see that when we turn these pieces off, we actually get these sections. Okay, so we got a section. So I'm going to delete that from there, and there we go. And one thing I would recommend is drawing an actual black outline around all of these. And the reason why, because if you don't, then you'll see little pieces like this flying, and that just don't look right. It just don't look right at all. So I'm going to get rid of CCleaner, and then let's go ahead and start painting. So that one's done. Next, click on this layer, come down here, and I'm actually hovering this right in the center of it. I'm just dragging the mouse straight down and then releasing once I get to the center of that one. It doesn't have to be anything that's like super fancy. It just has to be close. That's the biggest thing. And this will also help hide a lot of the lines, and when the object is actually destroyed, it'll look a little bit better. And also keep in mind, these items are actually going to fade out pretty quickly. So it'll be enough to let the player know that, yes, they have definitely destroyed it. No question about it. That's the only purpose of it. So I'm actually going to pause the video. I'm going to finish doing the outlines, and I'll see y'all in a minute. Alright guys, we are back. So now it comes into a question. Okay, so Jimmy, after we've done all this, then what do we do? Well, this is the fun part. So down here, this is the last wall merge that I have. So I'm actually going to turn all of these on because I want to. And then I'm going to turn all of these on as well. There we go. I'm going to select all of these, shift select all of these, and hit Control G. And this will be called my wall layer. Lager, whatever that extra key was in there. Then I need to find my wall color merge. I'm going to group these together, and this will be called wall damaged. And then all of these down here, these will be called board damaged. So the reason why I am doing this, and this is actually really important, because I'm actually wanting to trim this canvas to the size of these. This will be a little bit more optimized and run it the way it is. Is it the ideal thing to do? No, not really, but we're going to do it anyways. In fact, before I do that, I actually need to come in here and do the black outline around those. So I'll be right back, you guys. And we're back. Something else I was thinking about while I was doing this, because I haven't really talked about it. The way to create splinters, I'm actually going to click on the hair. You can also use this too, the crackles. Like we could just go down here to one of these colors. If that was way smaller, let's say 20. Oh, not the crackles. We want these. There we go. So I'm going to set these to 30? Question mark? Yeah, 30. I'm going to just go ahead and bring the opacity up to 100. So you could definitely just kind of like throw that in there. Another way of doing it is you could use hair. Once again, set to 30. Just kind of like, oh, you bastard. Just something kind of like that. Obviously, you'd use different colors. You'd use a lot more layers than that. But even something like this, if you just kind of like threw it out there, you know, you could get like a little splintering effect. And if we went darker, and then go even darker. So this is about what the player would see after it broke. Obviously, I don't want to use that, but you could definitely do something like that and just add more and more detail to it. So let's go ahead and get started on all this. So we have all these boards, and oh yes, I didn't show you the reason for that. So I'm going to turn off wall damaged. Or actually, I'm going to leave wall damage on. I'm going to click on board damage. I'm going to go to image. I'm going to trim to current layer. So now we have our board. Well, that's great. But now let me go ahead and move this over, and I'll show you why it's best to do it as one layer. See how it actually cut part of that off? So that's why... Undo, damn it. That's why I actually created this wall layer right here. So now when I go to image, and it doesn't matter if this is turned off or not, because it's still part of the layer, or at least that's up to my knowledge. So if I go to image and trim to current layer, oh, well, you know, it does cut it off. How about that? I didn't know that. Either way, you get the idea of what I'm trying to explain. So if we trim to current layer, it will now keep all that data that we need. And I just learned something new. I did not know that. Actually, I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. So we're going to start with this piece. This is Destructible Wall main, so this one will be Destructible Wall 01. And then we'll do 02. And then we'll do 03 and all the way down. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to put all these out. I'm going to do the same thing for the board. So this one's Destructible Wall. The other one's going to be called Destructible Board. But essentially, my work process is the exact same. 01, 02, 03, 04, and all the way on. So I'll see y'all here in a minute. Okay, now that I have all those exported out as or saved as PNGs, I'm going to go into the metric scene. And that means I actually need to check it out. So my password was, what did I say it was? I think I said it was like Howdy1 or Howdy5 or whatever it was I said that day. That's what it is. It's Howdy. Howdy fish gonads. Howdy fish gonads. That's what it is. I forgot what I was doing. Scenes. I need to check out the metric scene. So I'm going to check that one out. We're going to come in here and we're going to bring this bad boy in. So we have sprites and we have miss sprites. It is not, it's level sprites, that's why. So I'm going to select all these, change these over to a sprite, apply. And then I'm going to take all these, except for this one. That one can stay right there. And actually the first thing I need to do is come in here, create empty. This will be called wall destroyed. And this one will be called wall regular. And this will be called, need one more called damageable wall. So all of these need to be set in the same area location, so I'm just going to set them all to 0 real quick. Press F to go to them, and those are all zeroed out. Sweet. And the reason why all three of them need to be in the same area is because wall destroyed, wall regular will go into damageable wall. And so now we have wall destroyed, and I actually need to bring all of these in there. And naturally I can't do that, so I'm just going to have to bring them in one at a time. And let's go here. Okay, that's 3. Good. 4, 5, 6. So we'll grab these last 3 over here. Wall destroyed. And there we go. We have a full wall right there. So that doesn't look half bad. So you might notice that this board right here is overlapping this. How do we fix that? Well, the way we fix that is we'll select all these boards and let's set the order in layer to -1. You could also select all of these and just set these to 1. You can do it either way. So that's the only purpose of that. So now we have the wall regular that we need to contend with. So we'll put that in there. And we have this little issue. So we'll just line these up real quick. There we go. And then I'm going to select all of these in here, because these are not in the right locations. That's what I mean. So I'm actually going to damageable wall. So X can go to 20. And then for these in here, we'll go ahead and zero these out real quick. So 0 and 0. And the reason why the main wall is not lining up the way it should is because we actually changed the canvas size. So it is the same size as these, but it won't line up the exact same. If we did change the canvas size from the start, then we wouldn't be running into this issue. Either way, no big deal. So now, how do we get this where it becomes damageable and it disappears? Well, this is where C# scripting comes into play. So we're going to come in here, we're going to create a new folder, create folder, damageable, damageable scripts, I guess. I don't know what else to call it. So we're going to come in here, we're going to say create C# script, and this will be called damage wall start. And then we're going to need another script that will detect if the player hit it. Come on. Create C# script, and this will be called damageable wall break. So the wall start is what will actually make it fly into pieces, and the wall break is what will allow the player to actually break it. That's the only purpose of that. So the way we're going to do this is let's go ahead and go. We just need to open up both of these and start with that. Wait for Visual Studio to load. I'm going to pause the video. Alright, so we are back. So we have start and we have break. So break is what's going to allow us to break it. So is what we're going to need to do is we need to do a serialized field. And this will be of type game object. We will have wall regular, and then we will have wall destroyed. So is what we want to do is we actually want to do a tag check. So we're going to use on trigger enter 2D. We're going to say if collision dot game object dot tag equals energy blast, or we're going to say collision dot game object dot tag equals ground pound, I think is what it is. If it equals either one of those, then is what we're going to do is we're actually going to set wall regular dot set active, and we'll set it to false, and we'll set wall destroyed dot set active. Man, if I could type, that'd just be awesome. Set that to true. And so now what I need to do is I actually need to go into my tags and make sure I have those tags. So I'm going to bring this over here. I'm already in the inspector. I'm just going to click on one of these. It doesn't matter which one I click on. Alright, so we're going to click on, come on. Alright, so we do have, I spelled energy blast right, but the ground pound is, oh. Okay, so I never created ground pound power up, which is something I definitely need to do. So I'm going to go to add tag, add, this will just be called ground pound, save. And the reason why I need to do that is because I come up here to prefabs. Which one is it? That's a transformation particle. Prefab system, destination, death particle button. Okay, I could have sworn I created a ground pound power up. Could have sworn I did. Now I'm just second guessing myself. Okay, so I'm going to... Actually, I'm going to climb up this wall, then I'm going to do it. Alright, so... She didn't do it. That's because I need to start from the main menu. Or, you know what I could do? Let me click on player. Should be able to spot it pretty easy from there. So let's see, we have ground pound. There it is. So we'll click on this. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to change its tag to ground pound. So now when that's instantiated, it will actually cause a splash damage. But we need to do the same thing for the enemies too. We need to make sure that their tags are set for that. So that's something that we can do later. Quit. Well, asswipe. Alright, so let's come back into the script. Now that we have set the regular wall to false and the wall destroyed set to true, What are we going to do in here? Well, very simply, all we're going to do is we're going to say RB. Oh wait, we don't have one yet. So let's go ahead and go to serialized field, and we'll say, or actually, we probably don't even need to do that. I think we can just get the. Nah, we're gonna do it this way. Okay, we're gonna say rigid body 2D RB 2D, and we're gonna say start. Okay, yeah, wait. RB 2D dot. You know, if I could type, that would just be really swell. Early signs of carpal tunnel, I swear. And we're going to say RB2D dot add force. And so this is going to be the important part. Which way is it going to go? Is it going to go left or is it going to go right? This is actually where we need to... Oh, wait, I forgot to do something. I'm sorry, you guys. For int I equals 0, I is less than RB2D dot length I plus plus. And then we'll do swirly brackets. We'll do that. We'll specify this as I. And we'll do the same down here. Okay, there we go. So that's all good. So, is what we want to do is we actually want to create a public, let's go and create a public float, and this will be called, I don't know what this is going to be called, force strength. Let's go and create a public, well actually we don't even need that, because force strength we can define it if we want left or right. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say transform dot left. What is its argument? Vector 2 force. Yeah, so it should be transform dot, because we have up. I could have sworn we also had left. What about right? Okay, so we got transform dot right, and we'll say, we'll multiply that by force strength. And all we have to do is just do a negative value if we want to go left, or a positive value if we want to go right. No biggie. So we got that done. Let's save it. Oi. Okay, so we're going to have wall regular, which we need to add a component. This will be of type, no, we don't want rigid body. We want a box collider, 2D. And let's go ahead and start modifying this. So this right here will be the actual wall. And to give it the effect that the energy blast can do something to it, but we don't want it to do anything, I'm actually going to tag this as enemy. And I'm going to go down here to copy component. Paste component is new. I'm actually going to give it a small edge radius. So this way it can nail it and it'll do something. Now the only issue is that if the player touches this wall, it will cause her damage. So actually the more and more I think about it, I'm not going to do that. But I will actually keep this over here for the time being, because what I want to do is I actually want to... Okay, good, I'm editing the right one. So we have this right here that we can just move to the back. I don't want to tag it as enemy though. I think I'm just going to tag it as wall. And I'm actually going to get rid of the edge radius. Well, actually I can tag it as wall and make sure that the energy blast is able to interact with it. I think that'd be the best way to do it. So I'm actually going to give me 1 second to think about this, you guys. So we have that. I can actually move this back here and then keep it as enemy. And then damageable wall, I'm going to, let me just paste component as new. I'm going to move it over here on the X. I'm going to set this as a trigger. And let's see what this looks like. Well, I'd have to start from the main menu, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to turn that one off. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go back into the damageable scripts. This is wall start. I got that backwards. That is okay. So we have wall destroyed. We have wall regular. And then for wall destroyed, we're going to drag up damage wall start. And we're going to take every one of these and we're going to add a rigid body 2D. And then we're going to add another component that will be a type of box collider 2D. And that should be good. Let me go ahead and turn this on, see what all that looks like. So that's a little obnoxious. So the reason why it's doing that is because this is the actual wall shape. Instead of it doing it individually, that's why we're getting something that's like this, which is kind of obnoxious. So I'm going to turn all those off. Oh, also need to turn off regular wall. Click on this little guy, and I'm actually going to start scaling all of these. So this is going to take a little while. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scale it to its maximum size. And the only reason, because I think we'll get some interesting results if we do it like that. So I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to finish this up, and I'll be back in just a moment. Alright guys, we are back. So I'm actually going to take my walls here, I'm going to turn them both on. I'm going to go ahead and move these up in the scene because they're actually supposed to be like way up here. Yeah, right about there looks good. And so I'm going to turn off the wall destroyed, I'm going to hit play. And so you might be wondering, but Jimmy, you have no reference exceptions. Yes, I know this. I should be starting off the main menu. However, I'm lazy. So I actually added to the script where if I hit any key, we can see what it does. So let's check it out. That actually doesn't look half bad. So you're like, but it didn't go flying. Well, the reason why it didn't go flying is because we haven't specified a value for wall destroyed. So if we set this to, say, 5, this wall should go sailing. Or actually, no, it won't. Yeah, no, this wall won't go sailing. The reason why it won't go sailing, because we actually need to lock this in. We need to select every one of these pieces and drag it up here so it can call these rigid bodies. So now when we hit play, we should see it do something a little more spectacular. And Klabooski. Well, I mean, it's kind of working. Let's set this to 50 and see what happens. Probably actually need to set it to a negative value. Let's set this to negative 1,000. Watch it disappear off the screen. It should go towards this wall now, over here where my mouse is at. And we will... That's not what I wanted to do. Let me just frame back in on that. There we go. So that is definitely working. So now is what we want to do is let's go ahead and give it a random range. So we have 4 strength. And we're actually going to say... I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Let's go ahead and type in force strength equals random dot range. And let's go ahead and give it a value of negative 1,000 and say negative 750. Or actually, this needs to be 1750, and then this one can be 1,000. That's fine. Now, one thing I would say is we need to create another... this can actually be a private float. And this right here needs to be a public bool, and this will be go right. So we're going to say if go right, and then let's go ahead and, or I do want to copy this, but I don't want to copy the one above it, so we'll say else, and then we'll press enter. We'll paste that in there. We will delete the negative signs off of it, and I think 1,000 is a little excessive, although I don't think 500 is excessive, so I'm going to set this to 500, and this one will be 1,000, not 10,000. There we go. And so now it'll get any kind of range, and it'll go flying at different speeds. So we'll wait for this to compile. And we have damageable wall. Well, we want it to go right, so we're going to check that. We'll hit play, and we'll see what it does. There we go. They all go flying like we'd expect them to. And the last thing we need to do is, once this starts, we need to actually run a coroutine. So we're going to say start coroutine, and this will be called destroy weight. And we'll say I enumerator destroy weight, and we'll say yield return new, wait for seconds. And how long do we want to wait? Well, let's go and just wait for 2 seconds. That should be fine. Then we'll say destroy game object. So what's going to happen is it will actually destroy itself, which will get rid of... Wait, is that damageable wall? Okay, so yeah, we can do it this way. The only thing that kind of sucks... No, we can't do it this way, because if we want that to stay gone, then we actually need to tell it to, hey, just set yourself as inactive. So we're actually going to say GameObject.setActive false. So the reason why I'm doing it this way is because later on when we create a save system or a save state, it will actually set itself as inactive. As soon as the scene is loaded, it'll be like, oh wait, I'm supposed to be inactive. And that's the whole purpose of this. So we'll hit play. And so what should happen is when I click, all those go. 2 seconds, they should be set inactive. There we go. Now you're probably thinking, but Jimmy, that doesn't look right. Well, okay, give me a bit. So for the wall destroyed, we're actually going to add an animator component. Oh, wait. The wall destroyed is the one. It's just I forgot to turn that off. Okay, so for damageable wall, we could just say destroy game object. And inside the damageable wall break, have it in there. That will set it to do whatever. We'll just leave it alone for now because we can always edit it later on. Let's go into animation. And here's what I like about sprites. So this will be called wall disappear. There we go. And we're going to drop this into the animation. And we will hit save. And so one of the things I like about this is if we select all of these and hit the record button, we have the collar. Well, the collar we can actually move on the alpha channel. So right now it's set to 1. And we're going to move this over. I'm thinking let's actually move it to 1. And then we'll select this. Let's just set that value right there. And then it's supposed to disappear after 2 seconds. So right here is where we'll actually make it disappear. And then we're going to take this value right here. We'll hit Control C. And then we'll go to create new clip. Wall disappear idle. Paste that in there. And then is what we can do is come into the animator. And we'll just make a transition right here. We'll click on this. Get this as close to 100 as possible. Make sure we leave has exit time checked. And now, the cool thing that we get if I make sure it's set correctly is we will actually see it fade out and then become destroyed. So let me just do that and fade out and it's gone. So that's how you create a destructible game object. We'll go more in depth later on as far as like tell it to stay gone and stay disabled and everything like that. But for now, that's how you do it. Super easy. Took me 45, well, maybe closer to an hour. So, anyways, I'll talk to y'all later, and we'll see y'all in the next video.